Are potatoes a healthy choice? That is the question of the day. Hello, this is Aishan, aka the Omnivorist. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner in Paris, France, and I'm passionate about helping busy moms recover their energy and vitality through real food and healthy habits. Welcome to my weekly series, Ask the Omnivorist, where I answer your burning questions about health and nutrition every Friday morning. Now today I'm going to first give you an idea about the nutritional profile of white potatoes, explain to you why it is that they get such a bad rap, and give you my best tips on how to best prepare them. So white potatoes are often spoken of in the same breath as other starchy foods like white flour, white sugar, and white rice. Some say it's best to reduce them in your diet because they are considered to be somewhat devoid of nutrition and also cause your blood sugar to get out of whack. Now, if you've been wondering or worried about potatoes not being such a nutritious choice, you can definitely relax on that front. They are actually a really good source of vitamins B6 and C, as well as potassium, copper, manganese, phosphorus, niacin, and dietary fiber. Not too shabby. And they also happen to be a very filling food. So on the nutrition count, at least, rest assured that potatoes are a perfectly fine choice. Now, how about this other part of the equation, the part about blood sugar? Potatoes are often cited as a high glycemic food, and this is why you're told to reduce them. And what does that mean exactly? Now, the glycemic index is the measurement of the rate in which the carbohydrate content of the foods that we eat turns into glucose in the blood. Some carbohydrates are considered to do this really fast, while others burn more slowly. And the idea is that we should be favoring foods that burn more slowly. Now, the glycemic index, or GI for short, has been around for a really long time, and it's pretty well accepted by both mainstream and alternative practitioners. However, we are understanding more and more that actually there are a lot of problems with this concept of the GI. First of all, context is really important. And when I say context, I'm talking about it on both the level of your general diet and lifestyle, and also that the specific context of the meal in which you're also eating the potatoes. Because both of those things could actually play a part in how you metabolize glucose in your blood. And also, not only does the same food have different effects on every individual, even the same individual can have a different blood sugar response depending on what's going on for them. So that's the part about the context of your general diet and lifestyle. For example, let's say you got a bad night's sleep. The next day, your actually blood sugar metabolism will be impaired. So that has nothing to do with whether you're eating potatoes or not. So that's pretty crazy, right? And here's the other thing about potatoes. Actually cooking and cooling potatoes before you eat them turns out to be a really good idea. And the reason for that is something called resistant starch. Now, this is a kind of prebiotic. Now, it's not a probiotic, prebiotic. When we say prebiotic, that means it's actually food for the microorganisms in our guts. So this is a type of carbohydrate that is not digestible for our own digestive organs. So they resist digestion, so to speak, and they arrive in the colon intact. And then at this point, they become food for our gut bugs in the colon. So this is actually, these types of foods are really important for gut health. So even if you reheat those potatoes, let's say you cook them, you cool them, you're eating them the next day, you can even reheat them again and you will still get to enjoy the benefits. So that's actually something really important to understand. And also, I would still like to, dispel this idea of, and this is kind of going back to the recent videos I did on the low carb diet. Just because a food is high in starch does not necessarily make it bad for you. Once again, this is coming down to that division between real food and processed food. Okay, there's absolutely a place in our diets for safe starches, and potatoes are, when they're done properly, are definitely in this category. Now, another reason potatoes tend to get a bad rap is because of how they are prepared, and we're talking about French fries. Now, the problem with French fries is actually the fact that they are most often fried in rancid oils, and you should definitely be avoiding those because of that reason. And you should be avoiding those rancid vegetable oils no matter what, aside from olive oil, basically. All those other oils on the market, the sunflower and colza, and or it's called canola in English, all of those are not actually doing you any favors. Now, fries, which by the way are actually Belgian and not French, they traditionally used to be prepared in tallow or beef fat, okay? And of course, this is a much more stable fat, so those fries would have been a lot less problematic. And a little factoid for you, actually McDonald's used to fry their potatoes in lard and beef fat back in the day. But back in the 80s, when people started worrying about saturated fat being bad for them, that's when they switched to the really inflammatory vegetable oils that they use today. Yeah, I know. So in other words, fries are bad for you, but that's not because potatoes are bad for you. Once again, instead of relying on, fancy pseudo-scientific concepts like the GI, base your food choices on simple rules like, you've seen it coming, eat real food. If you do this, you will mostly be okay. And potatoes are a great example of real food. Now, here are just a few examples, a few practical tips on how to include potatoes in your diet. What I do most of the time is I always will steam a bunch of potatoes ahead of time in my Instant Pot. Of course, you could be boiling your potatoes. You don't have to have an Instant Pot for this, but it does come in handy for that. That way, I always have some cooked potatoes on hand to throw together something quick at the last minute. Of course, something like potato salad is always great. They also, like when you're really on the go, they make a great quick snack with a little sea salt maybe. Also, if you avoid gluten and other processed grains in your diet, they actually make a great vehicle for, for dips or for spreading something like pate or seaweed tartare or what have you on there, or hummus, for example. We've recently prepared these like cute little canapes where we cut up the potatoes into small discs and put some red bean hummus and like a piece of smoked herring on those, and it was delicious and the kids loved it. You can also like cut them up, like cube them and saute them in butter or duck fat. Or you could, if you do that in the morning, you can crack an egg on those and it makes a perfect breakfast. You can also roast them in the oven with duck or goose fat. So potatoes are really so convenient and versatile and such a great real food substitute when you're especially when you're avoiding more processed foods. So that is what I have for you today. I really hope this has been useful and you will start looking at potatoes a little differently now. And if you would like to find out more about doing this work of nutritional therapy and lifestyle changes on a deeper, more personalized level, I do work with a small number of one-on-one clients. If you'd like to find out more about that, make sure to drop me a line at contact@theomnivorous.com so that we can schedule a free discovery call to see if this might be a good idea for you. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you right here next week.